Hello, my name is Stoffer and I'm standing here with the Kia EV9. As you can see, blue and nice looking. Something that isn't nice is the weather here in Sweden. It's about 0 degrees today, it's windy, it is partly snowing. It's the end of April. I had hoped we would have 10 to 15 degrees today when I do my towing test, because the fun thing with the EV9 is that it can tow 2,500 kilos. So what I've done is connected a caravan to it, and we have gone for a test ride, and we have actually already started, and we have currently went 116.5 kilometers, and we have a consumption of 59.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. We started out with 86%, and then we came here to the charging station with 14%, and now it's time to go back. We have just reached 80% in the car, and it's time to get back home. So I thought you want to join me on that, and let's see what the Kia EV9 can do in a worst case scenario. I would just want to say before I forget, the weight of the caravan is 1,854 kilos, but the total weight, at least how the rules in Sweden works and how the laws works, we need to use the total weight and not what the actual weight. And that is 2,500 kilos. So that is why we have to, why we can use this caravan. But the actual weight right now is 1,854. So now we are on the road again, and we have 79% in the battery. According to the car, we should go 202 kilometers on this charge. The Kia EV9 has a trailer feature that allows it to, it can detect how heavy the caravan or whatever trailer you have how heavy it is, so it can determine based on that the range. So it can now it's a heavy load on the tow bar. It can also detect smaller loads and will estimate the range based on that. So that's smart. We also have some safety systems that are not active right now, like the lane assist is not active. The cruise control is active, so that is making it quite easy to do this run. And as you can see, I am in the passenger seat, and that is because I don't have the license to drive this big car with the caravan behind it. So I have some help from Robert, who is the one working for the company that owns this caravan, RA Motor in Knivsta. So thank you very much for that and for allowing me to be able to just do this test. When you're in trailer mode, as of we are right now, you are always in all-wheel mode, which means that both motors are always active, and that is to give the most power always. And the driver here says that it can be compared to driving like using a V8 engine, because you always have power, even if it goes up, even if it goes down, you always have that power, and it doesn't lag behind or anything like that, like in many normal cars. So the Kia EV9 have the power to always keep a steady 80 even if we go uphill, and that is something that is powerful with the electric cars and electric motors. You always have that power when you need it, and this is just a great example of it. So now we have done about 3/4 of this road trip. As I said in the beginning, we had done the half, and we have done half of that, the remaining now, so to speak. And we started out with 80%. As I said, we have 53% right now, and we have been going about 75 kilometers since we last charged up to 80%, and have about 45-50 kilometers left until it's time to stop. The consumption is much lower now than it was on the way up north. As I said, we were at 59.9 kilowatt hours. Now we are at 52.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and we are continuing to go down. So I'm assuming around 50, 48, depending on how the weather. If the weather keeps it like this, I think we will be just south of 50. So now we are back where we started with the caravan and the car, of course, and we have a total consumption of 49.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers after been driving 232.6 kilometers. I will do a better ending after I've collected all the information and maybe the charging receipt and whatnot. But right now I just wanted to mention we are done with the test. Here is the car and the caravan. Does it look good in the sun here? We'll be back soon. It is a bit annoying that the week after, when you picked up a new press car, you get the weather that you actually wanted for that Kia EV9 test. Something we have to deal with. I can't control the weather, and these cars are booked about a month beforehand, so it is what it is. I thought we would take a look at the numbers here, and as you can see in the gray area, the actual numbers that were from the trip. As you can see, we did 72% when we went from Knivsta up to Gävle, and then we used 44% when we went from Gävle to Knivsta. And the reason for the high difference was because we had a cold battery when we left Knivsta. And to be honest, I'm not really sure what I was thinking, because I usually don't do range tests with the preconditioning active, because that skew up the results, which is have done here. So this would more be like if you have the Kia EV9 and you have 2 tons caravan during winter weather, because it was much more winter weather than it is right now. So that is something we have to keep in mind. It is a bit skewed, but it is something, and we can get some data out of it, I think. In total, we used 116% units when we went for the total trip, for the total 232 kilometers. The Kia EV9 has a battery of 96 kilowatt hours usable capacity, and if we just do an easy math calculation and split that, we get 0.96 kilowatt hours per percentage unit, and then we just sum that up, and we will get the number 111.36 kilowatt hours used during this trip. And with that in mind, or with those numbers, we can then see what the consumption will be based on the 111.36 kilowatt hours divided by 232.6 kilometers. We get the 4.79 kilowatt hours per 10 kilometers, or 479 watt hours per kilometer. So I hope you were with me on this one. It is quite high, and as I said, the weather didn't help. If it was with this weather this week, I would think we would be closer to 4. The battery wouldn't need to be temperature as much as it did last week, and I think everything would just be better. We have a Swedish Kia EV9 group on Facebook, which I've looked at, and it seems that most people seem to get around 350 to 400 watt hours per kilometer. I'm not really sure what they are towing or what the weight of that was, so it's hard to get those numbers and understand them really without every detail. But the numbers I got was 479 watt hours per kilometer with a 2-ton caravan during winter time with about 0 degrees, winter tires on the car, and that's about it. This week it is not 0 degrees, it's 18 degrees here, and we're gonna celebrate that here in Sweden with Valborg. Have a nice one, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye.